Hello friends, and welcome back to a brand new video here on the Bioshock Hub. So it's been a minute since I've actually sat down and read an article about Bioshock, as well as discussing the Bioshock movie. So why not kill two birds with one stone here and do both? Today we're going to be taking a look at a Game Rant article entitled The Bioshock Movie's Turbulent Development Timeline Explained, and if you guys want to check out the article, as per usual, I'll leave it down in the description below. With that being said, would you kindly sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy the video. So today's article starts with the following. With video game adaptations entering a new golden era of late, and in my opinion, that would more specifically be The Last of Us show, the Fallout show, as well as Arcane. So if there's any that I'm missing, please let me know. But anyways, let's get back into the article here. With video game adaptations entering a new golden era of late, many gamers have become more open to the idea of seeing their favorite franchises adapted for the big screen. One such project is the Bioshock movie, which has been in development for over 15 years, but has yet to make it to the screen. Now, the initial problem here is that it hasn't been in development for those 15 years. It was completely canceled outright, and that was all the way back in 2010, I believe. That was Gore Verbinski's Bioshock. So the development itself, that's not true. However, it has been an idea for around 15 years. 2K's first Bioshock game was released to universal acclaim back in 2007, with players being enthralled by the dystopian underwater world the game presented and its unique combo of FPS shooter gameplay, which is bolstered by superpowered combat. Two Bioshock sequels were released over the years, with Bioshock 2 also debuting with critical acclaim back in 2010, and Bioshock Infinite releasing to an even more positive reception all the way back in 2013. So the fact it's been over 10, now 11 years without a new Bioshock is super upsetting, but that's a different topic for a different video. The Bioshock series of games is estimated to have sold over 41 million copies over its lifespan, so it's no surprise it's been at the top of Hollywood's list to attempt to try and replicate that success on the film side. And I honestly hope that they can do it. I want to keep my expectations low for the movie, that way if the movie's bad, I'm not let down and I'm not going to be upset. If the movie's good, I'm pleasantly surprised. So I'd probably recommend doing the same thing if I were you, but then again, I can't control what you're going to do and what you're going to think. So I just hope you're going to enjoy the movie regardless, and I hope it's going to end up being a fantastic film. So let's look at the beginning of this timeline with this part of the article. A Bioshock movie was first announced in 2008. The first inklings of a Bioshock movie came around a year after the first game's release. In 2008, the company Variety reported that Take-Two had partnered with Universal Studios to bring the video game to the screen. At the time, Gore Verbinski, who was directing Pirates of the Caribbean, and John Logan, who wrote the script for The Aviator, were selected to lead this project. However, it seems like it never came to fruition, and that was a lot to do with this one specific reason. Gore Verbinski and John Logan both wanted this film to have an R rating, but Universal kept pushing back and wanted them to do a PG-13 rating. I don't know about you guys, but I don't think a PG-13 rating for a Bioshock movie would result in a good Bioshock movie. They would have to tone down a lot of the violence, a lot of the gore, and I imagine a lot of the plasmid injections as well. So I don't believe we would have gotten the full experience. And again, that whole thing fizzled out. It's unfortunate, but reading part of the script, I'm definitely glad we didn't get that one. A year later, after all of that, Verbinski dropped out of the director's chair, but remained a producer on the adaptation. Universal then selected Juan Carlos Fresnadillo, who happened to direct 28 weeks later, to replace him as the next director for the Bioshock film. Over the next couple of years, the film faced headwinds in development, aka development hell. That's just a fancy way of saying development hell. The film's budget was creeping excessively high, causing problems behind the scenes to level it out. The creatives also reportedly wanted the film to have an R rating, which I mentioned, but again, it was difficult to get that financial backing from Universal because they were very adamant on having that PG-13 rating. The next part of the article is going to tie into the first part because I've already mentioned this, but this one is about the fact that the BioShock movie was canceled. By 2013, and I still imagine during the development of BioShock Infinite, at least towards the end of it, BioShock's creator Ken Levine confirmed that the movie was indeed dead. The reasons behind that were reportedly budgetary concerns, with Verbinski pushing for a $200 million budget and Universal asking him to drop it down to $80 million. Both are absolutely absurd for me to think about, but then again, I'm not too familiar with budgets into movies, so that could be a low budget. Who knows? To me, it just sounds like a shit ton of money. Levine also cited the change in directors as a hurdle. And again, I can imagine that too, especially with the movie being in development hell. It would probably just get to the point where you just don't want to deal with it anymore. You go from director to director to director. It's frustrating, and there's almost no point. Quote, "They brought another director in, and I didn't really see the match there. And 2K is one of those companies that puts a lot of creative trust in people. So they said, if you want to kill it, kill it. And I killed it." So essentially, we have Ken to thank for aborting the failed first attempt of the BioShock movie. Again, if you guys go and research the script or go Google the script and read it yourself, that was for the best. Let's move on to the next part of the article here. Now we move on to the announcement all the way back in 2022. That being the fact that Netflix is going to attempt a new adaptation, which again was announced in 2022. After almost 10 years, Netflix announced the revival of the BioShock adaptation back in 2022. A new partnership between the streamer and Take-Two Interactive was announced, with Take-Two and Vertigo attached as the production companies. Obviously, I'm very, very familiar with Take-Two. Vertigo, not so much. Shortly after, The Hunger Games' Catching Fire's Francis Lawrence was attached to direct this movie, along with Michael Green, who happened to write the scripts for movies such as Logan and Blade Runner 2049, was set to take over the script. Two people, in my opinion, that are incredibly good at what they do, so I'm hoping that translates to this movie as well. Around a year later, Green confirmed that both him and Lawrence were in the process of working on drafts of the script for this movie, with the process being delayed somewhat by 2023 and, more specifically, the Writers Guild strike. Lawrence also said he believes that their BioShock movie will avoid the video game movie curse. I don't want them to say that because that's just going to put a jinx on it, in my opinion. I'm very superstitious with stuff like that. So hopefully that's not the case, and hopefully we get a fantastic movie. But as I mentioned earlier, just keep your expectations low to be on the safe side. The last anyone has heard of Netflix's BioShock movie was at San Diego Comic-Con earlier in July of this year. At a panel, Vertigo producer Roy Lee confirmed the film was still in development, but they ended up lowering the budget of it. And I have made a video on that, so if you guys want to see more in-depth information about this particular panel, I'll leave a video in the description, or I'll put a card at the top right-hand corner of the screen for you guys to check out after this video. Now, let's look into the final part of this article. Finally, and I want you guys to chime in on this particular part of the article down in the comment section below. Is Netflix the best possible place for the BioShock movie? I'm going to give you my quick opinion here. I don't think it should be a movie overall. Sure, I'm excited that we're getting a BioShock movie. I still feel that a series would have been perfect for this game in particular, as well as BioShock 2 and eventually BioShock Infinite. But if they're very adamant on having a BioShock movie, maybe Netflix just isn't the answer. Maybe it could have been on something like Paramount. It could have been on something like HBO Max. I don't know. What do you guys think? Anyways, that's enough of me rambling. let's get into the actual meat and potatoes of the article now. Over the 15 plus years that the Bioshock movie has been in development, or lack thereof for that matter, the landscape has changed dramatically. Where video game adaptations like Doom or Assassin's Creed were once left to fade into oblivion, aka those movies sucked, video game IPs are now a hot commodity in Hollywood thanks to the success of award-winning shows like Fallout and The Last of Us, like I mentioned earlier, as well as Arcane. Netflix is one studio that has been quick to snap up video game titles, but up until this point has mostly produced animated series based on this IP via series like Arcane, League of Legends, like I mentioned, and also Cyberpunk Edgerunners, which I've heard was absolutely incredible too. So, is Netflix the best choice to adapt Bioshock for the screen? Maybe if we were talking about a series, I would be fine with that. But Netflix doesn't really have the best track records in terms of full-length feature films. Sure, they have some good ones here and there, but it seems like the majority of their own original films just don't hit the mark. The streamer has seen some success with a live-action adaptation of The Witcher, which is technically based on, and I can't even pronounce his name, so I'm not going to try, but the author of the series, but gained popularity through CD Projekt Red's video game series. And not to mention it had Henry Cavill in it, who actually cared about Geralt and cared about the lore of The Witcher, and they basically told him to fuck off. So, wonderful. It also had a live-action adaptation of Horizon Zero Dawn in the works for some time, and I'm not too sure if that's still ongoing, as they haven't mentioned anything here. So, again, do you guys think that Netflix is the best place for a Bioshock movie? Or do you think there's another better streaming platform for that? Or do you think it shouldn't even be a movie at all? Do you think it should be a series? Please sound off in the comments. I would very much appreciate that. So friends, if you've watched the video all the way up until this point, thank you so very much. It means the world to me. If you enjoy Bioshock videos like this one and want to see more in the future, would you kindly leave a like on the video, as it helps this video get out there and it helps the channel grow? And would you kindly hit that subscribe button, as we're on the road to 50,000 subscribers? Thank you. If you want to stay up to date with me outside of YouTube, my social medias as well as my Discord server is the best way to do so, the links to which will be down in the description below. With that being said, thank you all again so very much for watching today's video. Take care, stay safe, and I will talk to you all in the next one.